This is the Artist Entrepreneur Podcast. We are your hosts, Amanda Ritchie, Noah Dock, and me, Carrie Wee. We're three artists brought together by the love of circus and dance. Amanda from the world of Cirque du Soleil as an aerial soloist. Noah, our academic, and me from the commercial dance world. This is one of the greatest jobs in the world, but it comes with uncertainty. Each episode contains insight on how to pursue art-based businesses. We'll have a variety of guests and have lively weekly Discord. Tune in every week to hear our perspectives on the minefield that is the artist's way of life. What's up? Look at all the foliage you have behind me. It's so much prettier than my, what do we call this? We call it, I'm in a closet, like Harry Potter.
That's because you're looking for that good sound.
Girl, and I have that good dead sound in here, which is why I am sitting in here, because it gives me everything. Listeners, we are graced by the diva Dari of the world. Okay, so Darielle Williams. I've known of Darielle for a long time, and then recently I got to spend more time with her because we judged a competition together. We shared a table. We bonded. It was awesome. And I was like, you have to come on the podcast. And then we landed on today. How are you today?
I'm good. Yes, we had all the snacks at that table. I remember that.
Oh my God. I talked about the snacks a lot because I was just like, how are these other people not having all the snacks? I'm so hungry.
You can always eat. I'm good. I'm good today. How are you?
I was going to say, I was thinking about this. Mm-hmm. I really have everything that I ever asked for, except for being really disgustingly rich. I have everything else I asked for.
Yeah.
And now I realize that I have to execute it all.
Ooh.
And I didn't really know that was the problematic part. I thought it was like, as soon as you get it, it's like, but the execution of doing said things is actually the thing.
Right.
You can I don't own a studio, but you can dream of owning a studio, right?
Yes.
And then you get the studio and then you realize what's on the other side of that.
You gotta maintain.
It's so much work.
And yep, keep a bottom line and yeah.
Yeah. So if we use that analogy, I have what I had asked for. It's just the execution of said things. Darielle, did you happen to go to Viva Fest this year?
I did not.
It just happened.
Videos online. Yeah. I saw everybody's videos, but no, I missed out.
Yeah, because you are a Vegas chick. You were a Vegas chick.
I was a Vegas chick. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the Artist Entrepreneur. People, if you don't know Darielle's story, I'm going to have her tell it in her version of it. And maybe I'll learn because I don't think I've heard it from the horse's mouth before.
Oh, okay.
Your story.
Well, feel free to cut me off and move me along at any time because I can get long-winded.
I want to hear all of it though because I've never heard it, and I'm gonna jump in and just interrupt you and be like, "You did what with who?"
That's fine. Oh, that's fine. Do that.
Okay.
I'll try to give cliff notes, and then if you want more, we can expand.
Yes, please.
So I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. And I came to Florida International University in Miami to study dance in college. So that's how I ended up in Miami. And after I graduated, I stayed in Miami for 6 more years, so a total of 10 years before going to Vegas. So before I graduated, I found out about an aerial dance company that some of the other dancers who had graduated a year ahead of me were dancing in. And they were like, Dari, this is for you. You with your gymnastics background and your dance. I feel like you belong here. I feel like you should audition. And so that's what I did. Is I auditioned for that company. And other than that, I was always dancing in Afrofusion companies. I danced in an Afrofusion Brazilian company, Afro-Peruvian company. What else did I do? I danced in a belly dance fusion company as well. And I was doing this whenever certain companies took breaks or, the Afro-Brazilian and the aerial dance company, I was kind of able to do both at the same time and stuff like that. So I did that. That company kind of left Miami after a couple of years. And so I ended up having to find a different aerial coach and learning how to freelance on my own. And figuring things out until eventually I kind of missed the stage. I wasn't dancing anymore. I was mostly doing aerial at that point and fire dancing and stilts and all that stuff. And I was just kind of like, I missed the concert stage. And I started looking outside of Miami and saw that Reve audition and auditioned for that, got into that, went to Vegas, did the Vegas thing for a while.
How long were you there, Dari?
Only a couple of years, under 2 years. I didn't finish my contract.
Oh.
That was when I was scouted for the Beyonce.
Can I tell you my perspective on that whole thing?
What?
I auditioned for that as well as all of our friends did, right? And they're looking for a solo aerialist. And they might have known that they weren't looking for me, but I didn't know that.
Well, maybe they weren't sure.
Maybe they weren't sure. But I auditioned for it, and it was with Carmen and Greg Curtis, right? They're the same people that you end up working with, right?
Yes.
And
correct.
so they had this big audition, and I was already in the industry for so long. For me to think that I was like, oh, there's only like 20 people here. It's got to be one of us.
Right.
But what they needed to do for that was really cast for it, which is why they were scouring the planet and they found you.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a little bit of luck involved because I heard in these auditions that you guys had a dance audition as well. Like it wasn't just photo. Yeah. By the time they got to me and one other person, that we ended up auditioning privately because they didn't find what they were looking for in all the other auditions, whatever. And so they ended up flying me and this other girl out alone to audition there at the rehearsal space. Oh,
right. It was already when they were... Actually, by the time I was brought in to audition, they were already... The dances were... the whole dance... All the dancers, they're separate.
Yes. But I think they were looking for an aerialist who could dance anyway. Right?
Did you end up doing any dance on the floor for the show?
I didn't. And that's the thing. That's what I was trying to tell you is by the time they got to me and that other girl, they didn't even audition a dance for us. They just... Oh,
I see. They're like...
Yes. They were like, it's impossible to find an aerialist who can dance. And they had just given up on that whole thing.
Well, that's not true. But when they want the specifics of a look and a style and all that stuff, there's only, I don't know, like a couple handfuls of us that can stand alone as commercial dancers and as aerialists.
Right.
And we don't cross all looks and styles. It's like, you know what I'm saying? We're generalists pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to find one person who is an excellent commercial dancer and an excellent aerialist.
Exactly. Yes. And they look exactly what right. Right. And have the right body that you want. And everything is so important for casting. Yes.
So absolutely, I'm grateful that I got that opportunity. I don't think I'm the best, Black aerialist in the world. I do think that there was a little bit of luck that was involved.
Well, also you were, because I remember after that audition, because it was like whenever a role like that comes into our world, like everybody knows about it because it's like the roles are so few and far between, and the people that are not available, the people who are qualified is also very small group of people. So we all know what it is. And after the audition that I did, there was like a whole Facebook or Instagram, like Greg Curtis was on there, and they were like, this person has to exist.
Yeah.
And like, did you hear about that was happening?
No.
Like, because me and Greg Curtis and we're friends on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So they're like, this person has to exist, this height, this look, this hair, blah blah blah, with this skill set. And then later on I heard it was this girl from Reve. And because it's such a small community, we all want to know who got it. Right. So I think I saw you on this, like a video. I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Right. That makes a lot of sense.
I appreciate it.
But then you end up being like the perfect thing because also you have exactly the skill set. I mean, I've been on the other end of that. I've gotten jobs in my viewpoint that were so easy for me to get because at the end of the day, they were looking for me.
Right.
And when they found me, they're like, come, do this.
Yeah.
You have to fight for it because you're like,
kind of felt like that a little bit for me because I missed all of that had happened beforehand. As far as I knew, I was DM'd by Greg Curtis.
Yes, absolutely, because he was fucking scouring the internet for you. So, Darielle, what was this? What tour was this? Formation tour?
Formation tour, 2016.
Formation.
This is the 10-year anniversary, actually.
Wait, 2016?
Yeah.
That was 2016. I auditioned for that?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm about to make my anniversary post in a couple months. So that's...
Okay, so this is the stuff I haven't heard from you. So there's very few of us, I think, aerialists that have done pop, like crossed over the commercial world, and it's very different than doing a circus tour.
Yeah.
It's very different than doing a big top. I've never done a big top, so maybe you guys can tell me more about that. But can you speak of the experience?
I was just going to say, the experience of the tour, you mean?
Yeah.
You're going to talk about big top because I'm like, girl, I didn't do that either.
Well, you did La Reve, and I want to talk about that as well. But
sure.
But what's your experience doing the pop tour side?
It was fabulous. It was eye-opening because, I was a dancer. I was a concert dancer, which is different from a commercial dancer.
Yes.
And so it gave me a little peek into the commercial dance world. But I loved that I got to travel to so many different cities. I loved that I got a solo. I remember complaining about it at one point because the solo was only a couple minutes long. And one of the dancers had to pull me inside and be like, girl, she's giving you a platform on stage by yourself in her concert. Be grateful. And I was like, oh shit, you're right.
Well, circus people are used to having their 4 minutes solo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not even a full act. It's like so easy what I'm doing, like in my head. I was just like, it's not enough, and now I'm just like, oh my God, I got to do this like cool thing, Sometimes we have to like sit and appreciate in the moment what is happening because as we're such hungry artists, we're always like wanting the next thing or the bigger thing or
Well, also in different spheres, things mean different things.
Right.
Like circus, like you expect, if you're a Cirque du Soleil soloist, you have a 4.5 minute act. It's just different.
Yes, it is different. Yeah, it is different. Yeah. And to be fair, in La Reve, my solo there was not 4 minutes either because it was a part of the whole thing. Moment in the show where everybody had a few minutes of something and blah 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 blah. But yeah, and I've come to learn that since then. Before then, I've done some award shows and stuff too. But since then, I've done more commercial work, and I understand now that we are part of this bigger picture.
Yes.
It's not about you. Unless
what do you mean?
Unless you are the artist, it's not about you. You're part of this like canvas, this beautiful painting that's being constructed, and so you need to check your ego a little bit because it's not about your solo. And sometimes, and it's just so funny. The commercial world is so funny because we do all of this training. We want to get the hardest tricks. We want to do this, that, and the other. And sometimes you're just asked to do a simple spin.
Yeah.
And a split, and you better do this as cleanly as possible.
In the right timing. The camera's gonna move.
You gotta have timing, you gotta find your camera, all of that stuff. And that's where the professionalism comes in.
Okay, so how long was that one? How long was that job?
Oh my God. Can you believe it was only 6 months?
Yeah, but a lot of times. A lot of times it's like that, it's like the biggest gig of your life is 3.5 months or something because that's how long. Sure.
Because all of the other dancers were like, hey, you ready to be here for 2 years? Because that's how long her tours usually went at that time. And so they were like, yeah, you ready for the next 2 years of your life? And that's not what happened.
Is it because the whole tour got stopped in 6 months or is it because?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But it was a successful tour. Am I wrong?
It was successful. I heard it was really expensive.
Okay.
I'm sure they were still doing well, though. If I had to guess, and I don't know Beyonce's business like this, and maybe I shouldn't be commenting, but she did announce her pregnancy with twins like a couple months after ending the tour.
Oh, okay. So the timing of it.
I think the timing of it was like, hey, I'm pregnant and I'm having twins and I should probably stop this schedule,
Yeah. Okay. So go back to La Reve.
Mhm.
So tell me about that experience, how different it is from, you know what I'm saying? Those are two, you know who else kind of does that? Who did that bebop between circus and commercial world? Do you know Fernando Miro?
I know the name, but I don't.
Yeah. I mean, he was on Taylor Swift with me, and then he would go Cirque du Soleil solo, and then he would jump on Katy Perry's tour, and then he would go back and forth, and like he was so good that he was able to get solo gigs on both sides of that curtain.
Mm-hmm.
He's a friend. I haven't talked to him in a really long time.
Met.
Fernando Miro, Miro. Yeah. So is he in Vegas right now? And he did that the show in a saloon.
He's Atomic Saloon. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm all in his Instagram bio.
That's the other one who really liked to bebop between those two different types of jobs and had a lot of success.
Yeah, that was cool. So the Rev, it started off very difficult for me. I got hired for one particular act. I mean, amongst other things, because as you know, Le Reve is a generalist show, so you get hired for multiple things.
Yes.
But they had an act in mind for me, which after 6 months of training for, I ended up getting dropped from. This was the Sphere act, was considered one of their hardest acts in the show. And from my perspective, I feel like I was cheated in a lot of ways learning that act. I feel like the way I was taught was not the way I would teach an act. I even gave them this feedback afterwards. And after they told me I was insane, they absolutely took my advice with the next person. So I'm like, wasn't it that crazy?
How did they progress you into it incorrectly, in your opinion?
They would upset. So let's say this actually was a chunky act. It was a good 6-minute act. And she would teach the first minute or so, which is the easiest part of the act. And she refused to move on until every tiny detail, where your ankle had to be, where your finger had to, every detail needed to be perfect before moving on. And then by the time we got to the chunky part of it, come to discover, at this point, they were almost ready to get rid of me, and come to discover that there's a whole skill in there that I don't know how to do. If I was teaching an act, I would teach the big chunky skills first.
Right.
Let's drill that.
Yeah.
And then let's try to put the things together, and then, run for stamina, run for this and that. And then we will start to clean up the little tiny details and stuff like that. By the time we ran the full act, it had been 6 months of me doing this. I was just now figuring out stamina, and I could barely get through it. You know what I mean? So I almost made it into the act, because we did our stage rehearsals, and I completed the act, whatever, it looked beautiful. And then they were like, okay, we're going to do it again.
Wait, what's the apparatus? What was the apparatus?
Sphere. It was a trio sphere.
Trio sphere, meaning
three women on one giant sphere.
And it's like a cage sphere.
Yes. So there's a lot of kind of duo trapeze, triple trapeze.
Okay.
And so, getting through it once wasn't enough. I had to breathe for 1 minute and go immediately back out into doing it. And the fact that I couldn't do it a second time. I was cut.
So you were already on contract, but they were trying to figure out where to place you in the show.
Yeah, I got hired for that act. And then, when you don't make it into the act, you're on the chopping block. It's you got to figure something else out in the show, else your contract's not gonna get renewed.
But you can't do that on your own, because they have to direct you into it. They have to put you somewhere.
Which they did.
Okay.
They started me rehearsals and other acts in the show. There's an act in the show where I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I saw a version of it. Let me see what year I went. I must have seen it 2007. Mm-hmm. That version, whatever that version was.
Oh, 2007. Okay. When did I come in? 2014.
Okay. It's probably a different version.
But honestly, the Spare Act was there forever.
Okay.
We were there from the beginning. And also this act that I'm about to talk about. So there's this other act called Gross Bertha, where there was There's like a giant table with two attached chairs, one on either end, and a person is on each end, and the entire apparatus rotates.
Oh, okay. That's
Almost
cool.
like a giant tippy hoop,
Okay.
but like way bigger, and it's a table and chairs as opposed to a hoop.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Terrifying to learn. It was awesome. Um,
Sounds
and
like it. Yeah.
yeah, and I also had a weird time learning that act too. It was so funny because normally they have you with one partner and you stick with that partner until you're all the way integrated into the show. And girl, my partner was leaving the show. She didn't care anymore. Going up. They switched me to another girl. And so I basically had to start all over with that girl. And then because it feels different with each person.
Right.
So then that girl was like, well, she's not ready because she's not doing this for me. I was like, okay, cool. More training. And then they switched me again with another girl. And the third girl was like, well, she's not ready because she's not doing this for me. And I'm like, okay, more training until I was finally in the show with that. And then they later on, like a couple months later, they have like this big day where they make everybody mix up partners with everybody to see who can fit well with who. This is so that when they make the schedule, they have more options and choices.
Yes.
And by the time that day came, girl, I matched with everybody.
You're the generalist of generalists.
Because
you're
at
like, make
that
it
point,
work.
you guys had already put me through like learning with completely different bodies. And so now I know how to adapt to everyone at this point. It was so funny. And then they also taught me the 50-foot high dive for women.
You had to do that?
Yes, it was a solo, which was really cool. It was a character role. So I was mostly this like sexy diva throughout the whole, theater for the beginning of the show. And then the other part of she was part of the storyline, which was kind of cool. And then at one point when they're all she's the first high dive, when they're all doing these like crazy flips into the water, she comes and she pushes this guy in and she goes in, she gets pulled up into the air. She does the first high dive. And then the two guys come in after her. One at 65 feet, one at 90.
Had you ever done anything like that before?
No, I had to learn that from scratch there, which was really, really cool. Yeah. So I learned.
Were you scared of heights in that way?
I wasn't scared at first until they took me past 40 feet.
Okay, that's a big deal. 40 feet's a big deal.
40
because 30 feet, you're like, okay, I've been in a silk at this height doing tricks.
Yeah. And so you have to figure out how to fall straight because that's harder than it sounds. Like it's so easy.
No, it sounds hard. Yes.
Go diagonally down or whatever, and you have to keep your legs together and all that stuff. And once I got to 40 feet, they were like, cool, we're going to send you over to this other coach, which was one of the other performers. And after 40, things get real. It's so much faster, higher. You start panicking, like I'm falling in the air and I'm like freaking out. Inside your heart just ends up in your mouth, but then you get used to it as you get used to anything else. Yeah, girl.
I mean, I feel like a lot of my jobs, a lot of them weren't circus, they were dance. But sometimes I can trick myself into thinking that the stress I was feeling during all that time wasn't real. But now listen to you, I think all of it was real. Oh, because
we're put in stressful situations.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not maybe 60 feet of height, but the way that the pressure that are on dancers on a gig, I mean, they're just brutal to dance. They're just mean.
Yes. I honestly feel like dancers get it way worse than aerialists, to be honest. They're mean to dancers. Dancers really get, I don't know.
Dancers really get eaten alive. But then on the other hand, you have the status. Now, if you're on a tour and you're with a big artist, like you have so much fucking status in the community, maybe in the dance community.
Yeah.
It was the same for us back then, but it's different now. It's different in two ways. I feel like they're hiring a lot more stage dancers and you don't stand out anymore. Like, for example, Jenny, by the way, K-pop star. She's when she did a big performance for like the K-pop awards. I shit you not, there are 100 dancers on the stage. They all dress the same. That's so different than dancing for Taylor Swift and being one of 8 people. Right.
Yes. Very true. Different. It's a different.
It's a fucking different flex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
being scoured on the planet to be the minute and a half solo in Beyonce's Formation tour. It's a different flex. It really is.
True. Like, so perspective is a hell of a thing, and I'm super grateful for that time that I had. Yeah.
I mean, for me, what happened, my big moment like that was I was injured off the Taylor Swift tour, and I was recovering from it for 2 years and completely like earth-shattering, heartbroken, to not, because I don't know if I ever told you that story, but I never got to do it. I basically got injured in rehearsal.
No.
Yeah. Never got to do one show, anything like that.
So like that is still a big flex. Like,
and honestly, I feel that way. I think the hardest part of it was actually getting it. And then the doing it part was hard, but it wasn't as hard as the getting it.
Yeah. Getting to that point is such an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's where like all these things have to come together for you to get picked, and somebody has to be advocating for you on the inside. I don't care who you are. That does not mean that you like had a silver spoon in your mouth. Every single gig out there, there's somebody advocating for them in the inside, because that whoever that person is, the casting director, the choreographer, they're trying to bring in a team that they know that they can trust.
Yeah.
And that gives them exactly what they want. Yeah. So I was just finished recovering and like gonna make my way back into the industry, and I get a phone call, and it's my friend, but it's basically, she said, "Are you better? Can you work?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I don't know if I was fibbing, like maybe like my papers were just getting signed or whatever from my doctor, but she's like, she had been on the Motley Crue tour for a while, and their aerialist got herself fired. Partying too much on tour, apparently. And this story I've told many times, but they didn't even rehearse me. They just gave me a ticket to the first city.
Nice.
So I did rehearsals like in studio with one of the other aerialists and was thrown into the fire, basically.
That's because you had someone to vouch for you, to be like, yes, this girl is good.
I had somebody vouch for me. They had never had Asian girl, long black hair in their show. They're like, that's a good mix, because for a band like Motley Crue, you just need like hot, sexy girl, A, B, and C, right? And so my look was not already there. They're like, let's go with that. And then I had a specific skill set, and that's how these jobs get. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that, because I do believe we have in this audience a good amount of young artists, either aerialists, dancers, actors, maybe listening.
Yeah.
Now, what we're talking about is a confluence, in my opinion, of work and opportunity coming together. So that luck that we talk about, being at the right place, being known at the right time, at the right place, for the right gig, for the right casting. Like, you kind of have to just position yourself. Now, for you, now that is past you, like, what was your work like after that? And how would you advise other aerialists who have not come into that lucky mix of opportunity yet, like, to position themselves?
What was my work like after that? I moved to LA and continued on the commercial path.
And you wanted to be an actress too.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Yes. Like that was a goal of yours.
That was a goal of mine, which is why I moved to LA. And I obviously wanted to keep doing aerial. And so apart from teaching, I did, award shows or TV shows or commercials or anything that asked for an aerialist. And I'm still doing that. If anybody asks me, I'm still.
Yes. You're still there.
Still doing that. I gravitated towards commercial work, and I still like the artsy side of circus work. So I did, when I first moved here, I worked at Cirque School LA, and I performed at Troupe Vertigo. And we actually performed as guest artists at the very first Viva Fest. And then we did that work called Tableau at the San Francisco Aerial Arts Festival. And this year I'm about to that's not true. I'm about to perform my aerial drum solo at the...
I've never seen that.
I know. So this was, an apparatus that I created and have since patented and everything. And I have performed it already at the San Francisco Aerial Arts Festival within a larger piece called The Rainbow is Enough. And now I'm just going to do it on its own. So I'm probably going to develop it some more. It's going to happen later this year. So I'm still in the kind of artsy aerial world and the commercial world. That's where I like to sit. I never
Okay.
wanted to do circus in a traditional sense, like tent circus. So I don't really know what that is like. And I never wanted to do cruises. Those were my two things that I didn't do. And there's nothing wrong with these two paths.
Yeah, there's just not your vibe.
It just wasn't my vibe. So those are four categories I've already listed out for young people to know that, you can find your place and your people and your vibe. And yeah, this sounds like so cliche, but stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
No, that's good.
It sounds so stupid because but it's so true. It's so true. Like I'm at a point, like at this point in my life, like because my interests are so divested. I'm doing aerial, but I'm also pursuing stunts and I'm pursuing acting. So I'm doing a lot less aerial. And I got married. I just had a honeymoon. Just because of opportunities recently, I got to travel for like 6 more weeks. Every time I go away, I get out of shape, And so now I'm like, oh my God, I got to get in shape in case some job comes up and I am too weak to do it. and that little fair needs to live if you want to keep performing or if you want to stay in this game because opportunities do come by and I just don't want to be in that position where somebody has to say, oh, she's not ready for this, or she's not what we're looking for, or whatever. I just want to stay ready so I don't have to get ready. Yeah, that would be my advice. How to position yourself. If you really want to do this and you live in the middle of nowhere, pursue those jobs where they are. If you want to perform in Vegas, go to where that is. If you want to perform in Montreal or Germany or where you see the little circus hubs are, at least send your resumes out there, and see what hits. Get the training from the type of people who are doing that type of work, that kind of stuff, because it may not be available where you are,
Yeah, what is your perspective on that? Because we do have this worldwide internet situation and you can do more than you used to be able to from not those city centers. But tell me your viewpoint. Do people, if they're really serious, do they need to move if they're not in one of those places?
I moved from Trinidad, girl.
Yeah, okay. So that's, yeah, all right.
I didn't know I was going to enter into circus when I got here, but that's what happened. Yeah, I started off in Miami and things were going okay, but I realized in Miami that I was only working in clubs and nightclubs. And that's for a while because, it's an opportunity to perform. And so I was very excited to do it at the time. But then eventually I was like, this isn't satisfying me artistically. This isn't stretching me. So when that Reve, I started looking towards Vegas. And then when the Reve audition came up, it was like, okay, this is kismet. I need to be there. I need to do it.
Now that Reve experience, would you have ever, this is such a hard question. If you had to do it again, would you?
I would, for the experience. I grew so much there.
Yes.
As an athlete, as an artist, I learned so much there. Part of the reason why I struggled in the first half of my time there as well, too, was because I started circus in what as the wild, wild west of circus. I didn't go to a circus school. I didn't have...
Yes.
You know what I mean? You learned
Correct.
From people who just kind of threw you in the air. They were like, oh, you got a dance background. Let's teach you some skills and you're performing next week. Good luck out there,
Amanda Ritchie, same.
That's how I started.
Same.
A lot of people started around that time. If you didn't grow up in a circus family, in the actual circus, and you learned outside of the circus at a certain era of time, chances are you learned in a very scrappy way. You probably learned, at least in my case, I learned how to do tricks before I learned how to do transitions. I learned a lot of advanced moves before I learned simple moves. I learned all out of order in a way that you would never teach today. It's kind of crazy. And so a lot of what I had learned in Reve was how to make a real act, how to not just do a series of skills and call it an act, and stuff like that. It was kind of like my circus school training.
Yeah. You had that.
It was on the job circus school training, so I appreciate that part of it. Other than that, it was a terrible time in terms of. I always call it the most racist experience of my life.
The most what?
Racist experience.
Oh, I see. And is there a competition? Is there a battle for the most in your life?
There is, because I've had so many, Carrie. I couldn't write a book of how many racist experiences I've had. But that experience there
was, yeah. Well,
they did it all. They did it all. They said all the things to me. They did all the things. Like, girl, if I told you, that would be a whole other podcast. But it was a lot. And when I was done with the beat, actually, when I was leaving Reve to go to the beat tour, I remember crying like, I'll be back, I'm gonna come back, and then when I left and I was on the tour, I was like, oh my God, that was actually really toxic and I don't want to go back. And they did ask me, like, Daria, are you coming back? Because we're casting, are you coming back or not? And I was like, can I think about it?
Well, what a difference. You're literally working for Queen Bee after that.
Exactly.
So the queen of Black women is your boss.
Yeah, and that was the Black girl tour. On that tour was a Black woman.
I mean, except for Hannah Douglas.
Except for Hannah and I. There was one Asian girl, one half Asian girl. Yep.
Yeah. So what a difference. Yeah. I mean, you know what came across my mind? Okay, so when I started aerial, I started from a different perspective because I was a dancer and I decided to start aerial. Okay. And if you were a dancer who decided to start aerial and you're serious about it in LA at that time, you were hated on.
What?
Yeah.
Hated on by the dance community or the circus?
By the circus community. They were like, this is bullshit. Like, you're bullshit. Like, you're not going to work hard. Blah, blah, blah. And then I find out that so many of the soloists in Cirque du Soleil and shows like that, they didn't have any of that skill set and they were just thrown in. They had to sink or swim, not to take anything away from people like you and Amanda who swam but almost sank.
But people with gymnastics backgrounds or dance backgrounds, especially ballet, because they love those legs and
they love those lines.
Yeah, they love those lines. And so
yeah, so I mean, and I know now stories of people who are like thrown into something because they like the body type. They're like, you have a base, you're a generalist, but then they're asking them to do a specialty that's like so beyond what they've been training for. I've heard so many stories of that now at this time. But back then, and it's because I think that there was this thing about there are so many dance/aerial gigs coming up. And there was a competition for those gigs. And we had a commercial dance skill that a lot of the circus people were not going to come up with quickly.
No, not at all.
No. What we had to do was easier than them learning how to dance versus us doing a shitload of pull-ups to get our strength up. That was the difference. It was like, okay, you just have to get your strength up because you have the lines already.
Exactly.
And you can understand the reps.
I was chosen for that aerial dance company, because that aerial dance company that I started with in Miami, they specifically wanted dancers to train for circus because you already have technique. Yeah. They don't have to teach you that part. Yes. They just have to teach you conditioning and then put it all together, in their minds, so. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Wait, I'm sorry. You kind of went in and out. Say that again.
Oh, I was just going to say that having a dance background gives you an advantage, at least when it comes to being an aerialist, it gives you an advantage.
Yeah, and so does being a gymnast. That too. Gymnast.
That too, being a gymnast.
For sure. Can we get into this Black aerialist thing? Because...
Yeah, what do you want to say about that?
I'm Chinese American, but people, it's kind of like white adjacent. You know what I'm saying? Because
yes, I do know
I'll tell you why, because I can kind of skate on that coattail of like acceptability, but just a little bit looking different. I mean, Asian American has
acknowledging that.
No, we are white adjacent. I can kind of take advantage of it. And then on the other hand, there's a lot of, for what any person looks like, there are there are things that are going to help you in society and things that are going to take away from it. Right. And so for me, I kind of learned that I could be the girlfriend of the primary in the casting. Mm-hmm. They're going to hire the white girls in the front. Maybe the white girl's a singer or whatever. And I could either get a job next to her or not. And I would battle it out for the girls who look like me for that job. And somehow I became friends with all those girls. I don't know how, because when I was in those auditions, I wanted to punch them out. I was like,
you're the best friend. You're always the best friend. I get a lot of those castings too, the best
castings too. And it doesn't bother me because I want to make a check and I want to get on the stage and I want to get the tour. And I didn't see it from that perspective. Like, I got into like this weird internet argument with somebody about the Harajuku girls for Gwen Stefani a long time ago, because it was brought up that like these girls were seen as like lesser humans and like they're her little Asian playthings, and they were kind of like dolls. Well, they were dressed like dolls, and from a representation standpoint, they were right. Okay, I think. That argument was right. But I chimed in. I was like, I just wanted to chime in a different perspective. I was there when that was getting cast. Every single one of us wanted that job. And
there aren't a lot of Asian specific jobs. And
absolutely. We're like, give me the fucking job.
Like, me, please. Absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense.
So, I mean, I get what you're talking about from like a story standpoint and like a little Asian girls looking at Gwen Stefani and these are her little playthings. I get what you're saying, but we wanted those jobs. And if somebody had taken those jobs away because she was doing something quote unquote like, what do we call it? Cultural appropriation. We were like, raise my hand to appropriate me culturally and give me the check that comes along with it. You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't get a lot of lead roles. And it would have been a lead role for Asian girls. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
Okay. So from this, like I had that perspective the whole time of my career. And so you come on the scene, there are very few black female aerialists who are at that level. Partially, why you got this huge role with Beyonce. Yeah. What has your experience been?
Oh my God, the girls were catty about it.
Like which girls? Like which women?
Like I said, it came down to me and one other girl, and she took it really hard that she didn't get that role, and kind of made me suffer for years about this. Because
were you guys friends?
No, we had just met there. We've since been friends or
that's good.
Adjacent.
Yes, adjacent.
It's a strange relationship because because I feel like she's been forever competitive with me since then.
It's a big gig. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's tough. And then there's another aerialist. I don't know if you know Veronica Blair.
I've seen the name. I don't know her.
Amazing black aerialist as well too. And her name came up, but she was doing her thing in Japan, and she was like, I don't want to audition for this. I'm doing my thing over here. And so there were women, but yeah, it is a small circle though. It is a small circle, and for the most other part than the few who want to be catty or whatever, we get along and we acknowledge each other and are like, oh my God, you're another black aerialist. I was in Trinidad Carnival this year and I saw another black aerialist, and we just like hugged in the street because we only see each other on social media, and it was so freaking cool to see each other in real life for the first time. And I love that I'm considered an elder aerialist now, that could now
Yeah. But you have
knowledge and mentor in some way, someone else. Anyway, like I said, Veronica Blair had put on The Rainbow Is Enough. I mentioned that earlier in the San Francisco Aerial Arts.
Yes.
It's like 4 years ago, something like that. And that was a retelling of the play for colored girls who had ever considered suicide.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I haven't seen it, but yes, heard of it.
So she kind of did a circus version of that.
Okay.
where instead of, that play is mostly about relationships and stuff, but instead of it being about relationships, we maintained the color theme. We were all a different color, but each theme was about something else. Like one was racism, one would be spirituality, one would be ancestry, just different themes that were relevant to Black culture. And it was a very beautiful, rich show. If anybody still wants to fund this, we want to keep developing it. But yeah, it's a small community of Black aerialists. We are growing. I feel like the pandemic really brought everybody together. That was a big topic of conversation during pandemic as well, too. After the death of George Floyd, I feel like everybody was talking about race for a while. And so if you were a member of Circus Talk or something, everybody was trying to have these conversations on Zoom. And then people of color were having their own conversations as well, all on Zoom. And we would all meet up and there would be like hundreds of us or whatever, not just Black folk, but other people of color that are in the circus industry and stuff like that. And just opening up the conversation to how difficult it is, even from being a recreational person who walks into a studio and you feel underrepresented. You feel like everyone's cliquey. I don't belong. There's not even an instructor that looks like me. There's so many different ways you can feel isolated being a person of color in the circus industry, to casting, like all the way up to castings.
All the way up to casting.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sure there were many people who were trying to talk to you because studios, whether or not it was for a good reason or a more of a marketing reason, like the real reason or like the outward reason, which is like, we need to have representation in our studios, and you're a real aerialist. Right. I mean, how many studios tried to hire you at that time? I think I tried to hire you. I was like, can you work for the Loft?
It was very popular around 2021. My phone was ringing. I did so many interviews, so many little blog interviews, magazine, everybody blog, everybody had a little radio show. I did so many interviews, and then I also got asked to perform everywhere and teach. And then I got injured, which sucks because it slowed down that momentum. But for a while there, things were really flowing. And it sucks because just before a pandemic, maybe a year before, I had made a post saying, hey guys, you can hire me for aerial jobs that aren't just for a Black aerialist. I also do regular aerial. Because, especially as a new person, when I moved here to LA, one of the tactics that I use, and feel free to steal this, anyone listening to this, and you should, I would look out on social media, see where people are performing, what companies they're performing for. I'll develop a list of entertainment companies that exist. And I'd call them and I'd gather my information and videos and pictures and resume and send it out because I'm trying to get hired.
Yeah.
And some people would respond, some people would not respond. And let me tell you, I could send my stuff to 20 companies and maybe one person would acknowledge that they received the email. But then don't let a Black celebrity need a Black aerialist for their event. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, everybody contacts me all at once. My phone will just be blowing up. Like, I have to take this job because I'm one of the only 2 Black aerialists in LA. So you better take this job. Like, people would be mad at me. So it's kind of crazy. I'm like, oh, so you do know who I am. So you have my number. You do have my email. Why can't you hire me at any other time than this? So I went from that pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. All of a sudden, everybody.
Oh my God. When am I going to be in style like that? Jesus.
Don't worry. It's already out of style. It goes with the administration. So.
Oh my God. Apparently it does. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. But can I tell you, I am not a Black woman. Yeah, I am a Chinese American woman. And in San Antonio, in Texas, there aren't a lot of East Asian or any Asian. There are some, but definitely not. Like, Hispanic is over 50% here.
Stand out.
Black and white. I stand out, but then not in a way that's like super helpful. But I didn't do anything on purpose. I love my studio, but when I first walked into there, it was like white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl, all of them. And they're great. Yeah. They're great people. But I'm not intimidated because I'm walking in there and I have, all of my resume and stuff. I'm not intimidated. But if I was walking there and never tried it before,
right,
I might feel intimidated.
Yes.
So I don't know if it was a bit of luck that the people that walked into my class the first couple months were a couple of Black women. And those women, they stayed. And they somehow give a silent permission structure when other people, mostly Black women, walk in. And so can I tell you that, like, I don't know, like I have a lot of new girlfriends here and they're all Black women.
Yeah.
Because they found my aerial and they found each other.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I didn't do it, but they're here and it wouldn't be necessarily.
For sure.
I helped for sure. I don't exactly know what. But then also, like, I work at Lifetime. Did I tell you I took a full-time job after I saw you?
No, after? I thought when you saw me, you had a full-time job.
I took that job, but I started to go full-time right after I got back because my kid, with my partner's health insurance, they dropped the family part.
Oh, no.
So they wouldn't insure her anymore. We were paying into it, but it was going to be exorbitant amount of money.
God.
So I am teaching more Pilates than I ever thought I would teach in my life. But it's not hard. It's just the hours. It's like the output. It's a lot of output, right?
Take care of yourself. Don't get burnt out.
I mean, I'm trying. But so even there, it's like me and a bunch of white ladies. I call it like the reverse Twinkie. Just a little yellow and a lot of white. But again, the Black women find me. I don't know what I do. I'm just like, they come to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a slow situation. And I always and I'm not the only one who sees you this way, which is the reason why your phone has been blowing up. I love that you're who you are and you are such a leader. And you kind of take the leadership when people thrust it upon you, I feel like.
Thank you. I feel like I haven't done that in a while, but yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
But maybe not like actively, but you just being who you are, where you are, doing what you're doing, does it to a certain degree.
Yeah. Just like what you're doing, like you're saying, just teachings and
just doing what I'm doing and being there and doing it with confidence and doing it well. It's almost like, if you think about like Simone Biles as the years have gone, it's like you see the complexion of the other gymnasts that are moving up and it's shifting because those students got the training at the right time and it has to go through the entire generation.
Yeah.
It's not like that's one of the conversations we were having during the whole George Floyd thing. It's like, yes, you want more representation, but if you want to do it right in the circus world, you have to train them when they're younger. Like you have to build it from the ground.
Yes.
And you're a part of that, and I'm part of that. And even though that conversation's not being actively every single day anymore, I still consider that every single day that I'm doing this.
Yes. It's important. Yes. I agree with you.
So, I mean, you're part of that. I'm a part of that, and I'm grateful for that because otherwise, it's like 10 years ago, like my besties, my aerial besties, you know who they are. Tanya Holt. Like Meredith, they're all white girls. And it's like, I love them, but it's like this, the picture of this is what has, the generation before, that's what that looked like.
Yeah.
And it needs to shift, and it's shifting.
And I don't know if this ever happened to you, but has anybody personally told you that they didn't want you, they want a white girl?
You know what? No, but it wasn't ever implicit, but it was so obvious to me. Was it ever implicit to you? Like very, very
kind of
spoken?
It used to happen a lot in Miami.
Oh, okay.
More than it does here. I'm not saying it doesn't happen here. I'm sure it does. And maybe I just don't know about it. But in Miami, it was a little bit more implicit. Like one time, my friend left me in charge of her company. She went away and she was like, "Hey, just take care of this gig for, hire yourself on it." I gotta go. And I'm communicating with the clients and blah blah blah. And they're like, "Send a picture of the girl, send a picture of myself."
Yeah.
Like, can you send a different girl? And I'm like, well, is it because you don't like Black girls? And they're like, it's our preference. And then I told my friend about it who owned the company, and she was like, yeah, that actually happens a lot. I just don't tell you about it.
Oh,
and she stopped hiding it from me. And then I really noticed how often it happened, and it would be every award show. It was a thing. And, granted, it's Miami, and they always want like a light-skinned Latina as opposed to a dark Latina, and it was like a whole thing.
Right. It's not necessarily black versus white. It's like they want their thing. For me, I don't know if it's because I'm Asian or if it's because they want somebody like a whole foot and a half taller than me with like super long legs and like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's also that I'm like.
But everyone looks long in the air if you have good lines. Like Meredith is a super tiny girl.
Yeah. Oh,
long.
Her and I are very, like, we're always so conscious of our height because it's like.
But you can't tell in the air, like, at all.
Oh, but you can, though. Okay, no, listen. No, I'm not saying I don't look long I do look longer than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, some of these aerialists, they look so perfect up there. And then when you see them walking around, no butt. I'm like, that's why they look like that, because they're so like, and they're so strong too.
For a long time, I was a Black girl with no butt.
Wait, what?
Yes. Well, I got clowned by my Black friends for having a flat butt.
How did you have a flat butt?
Because
you were a dancer.
To Black people, I have a flat butt.
Oh, compared. Oh my God.
Compared to other Black people, I have a flat butt. But the past couple of years or so, I've been doing Taekwondo, and let me tell you, a very different aerialist body now. I'm not
very different.
I'm not stick thin anymore. I have these, like, my thighs are developed, my butt's developed. I'm like, oh my God, I have to shift my mindset of what my own self looks like right now.
Well, no, for me, it's a thing because, like, I'm going to be 49 this year.
Ow!
Do we know this?
Nice.
I'm shimmying for you.
Yes.
Shimming.
You don't look it at all.
I mean, I don't, but like, I also don't look like or feel like what I used to. So that's a shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shift. So anyways, oh my God, I love this conversation.
Let's talk woman stuff.
Dari's like, do I need to prepare? I was like, no. Just come as yourself and we're going to talk forever. So I don't know if we have any advice for anybody. We don't know. I don't know if we have any advice. No idea.
I think I gave advice earlier. I don't know what I said.
Maybe I'll have Daria on all the time if she'll make time in her schedule for me for a podcast or two. So
I'll totally do it. I can talk for days.
I love this. Okay. I love you and thank you for being here.
Carrie and I have never spoken for this long before, by the way.
It's so good. No, but you know what?
Bye.
No, but we were judging the competition.
We did, yeah. We judged the competition together.
And so we sat next to each other for a long time. And I'm telling you, those little aerialists, man, I think there's a couple times you and I looked at each other. We're like, we were never that good. Not even now.
I mean, I started at 23, so I definitely wasn't doing that age.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find Amanda Ritchie at Grounded in Flight on Instagram and at Noah Doc on Instagram, as well as Red Flags app. And me, Carrie Wee, you can find at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We have so much more coming at you, including guests that are in this art world that are blazing their way through new businesses and, just more banter from us. Thank you for listening. This is The Artist Entrepreneur.